Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Spotlight. We're going to get started here in just a couple of minutes, give everything a chance to kind of, all the technology to work. Hey, Christian.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. Yeah, we got some nice weather here in Atlanta where I'm at, so I'm very excited about that. We title this Facebook Live.
I'm trying to find it on my phone.
Oh, I can't type today. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. All right, it's going to pull up on your phone right now because I just put in the title.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to see if anyone had questions.
Yeah.
Oh, there we are.
See us?
Yeah, it always looks so ridiculous. It always stops on the worst face I've ever
I
had.
know. I can never get the perfect face.
I'm always like, I look like I'm having a stroke.
Yeah. All right. Let me get my microphone a little closer. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, that's better actually.
Okay. I just didn't have the microphone in front of me. Woo! All right. We are officially live. Welcome to the Spotlight, everybody. I'm Bonadeo, and I am the president and founder of the Beauty Agents / the Beauty Agent Network. I'm also a radio host for Beauty Inside and Out. And I'm a partner with the gentleman that's here with me today, and he's a partner with me, Mr. Christian James. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be a part of the Spotlight. Very excited.
Yes. So we created the Spotlight just to give everybody a little history on it. We created the Spotlight to be able to showcase talent, but not in a typical way. The typical way would be that you'd be all set up to work on a mannequin head or a live model, and that you would be showing a demonstration. And really what the Spotlight is about is to be able to hear the real story of the talent and the artists and the people that I think make this industry go round. So we're interested in the backstory. Like we had Charlie Price on in our featured, our kind of a startup of the Spotlight. And I had said to him, and he goes, what do you want to talk about? I said, I want to talk about little Charlie.
There's nothing little about Charlie.
Right. But I'm like, I want to hear the story of little Charlie. Yeah. That's and I think sometimes when we have a better understanding of where we came from and how we're more alike than we're more different, I think people then can see the opportunity for themselves to be able to rise and maybe get to that next level that they want to get to. Because listen, everybody's had a path. Everybody's had, detours. Everybody's had some challenges to be able to get where they are. And I think it's great to hear those stories. And when we can share them authentically and we can share them with everybody, wholeheartedly, then I think what it does is I think it allows people to be able to be less judgmental, less hateful, and realize that, gosh, these people are more like me than not.
Yeah, for sure. I think once people realize that we're all connected, that there's some sort of connection into this industry, that it makes it way more difficult to be negative about it and be negative with each other. So I love what you're doing. I think that is going to help change the industry.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's always been part of my makeup. My makeup was, okay, great. I did hair for a while, and I actually love doing hair. And after not doing it did it for 3 years, didn't do it for 15, went back and did it for 4. That's when I really loved it. That was the moment that I had my aha moment of how much I enjoyed doing hair, how much I enjoyed that client interaction, how creative I discovered I actually was. But mind you, in that 15 years that I wasn't doing hair, I never left beauty. I was working for manufacturers. I was working for distributors. I was managing big salons. So I was still in the fold. And I think through osmosis, I probably learned more to be able to apply it at that time. And I know that when I went back to doing hair, and it was when my son was young, so it gave me a perfect opportunity to work part-time, still be able to be the mom that I wanted to be, and make some money. And I remembered going back in that first few months of doing hair, and I was incredibly nervous. I had such low confidence in thinking that I'd be able to, you know, figure out how to do some of the new trends that are happening right now. And I would say that, you know, my son's 19 now. So mind you, it's been also 19 or, 15 years since I've done hair. But I would be scared to death to go back and do hair right now because I don't know how to balayage. I don't know how to do mermaid colors.
Right.
But the foundation that I did learn over the years, I think would still get me far.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I have to credit, I have to credit the people that I worked for. I mean, I worked for Arnie Miller with Matrix, and I worked for John and Jerry Sebastian, and I worked for Alan Benfield Bush, who is a big part of Hairdressers Advice, and Jim Markham with ABBA. And I learned so much from them, not just even the technical parts of our business, but the business side of our business as well.
Right.
Yeah. So I really wanted to create the spotlight to be able to put the light on some of the talent out there and just have them share a little bit of their so-called backstory of how they got to where they are. And so thanks for joining us, everybody. And we're glad to have you here. Bonnie Bonadeo, Christian James with me. And I intentionally did this particular spotlight this week so that we could share with you, first of all, what the Spotlight is about, what the Beauty Agent Network is about, how you can be involved and participate. So Christian and I are just going to kind of like go back and forth and, in a sense, interview each other, just so you have an understanding of what it's about. And then from here on out, every other week, and I'm sure it's going to turn into every week, but for now it's every other week, just with my schedule over the summer, we're going to be featuring an artist at the Spotlight. And next week we have Dario Contrina. He is from Australia, and he's actually coming here to the States to be able to do some education, and he does some really amazing education. I got to tell you, the Australian hairdressers are fantastic. You know, the Tracy Hughes, the Sharon Blaines, the Bernadette Beswicks, they are really good and talented hairdressers. And so Dario just is right up there with them. He's an award-winning hairstylist, and he's coming over to the States to be able to do some hands-on education for us. Very foundational stuff. So you'll hear from him next week on June 11th here at 4 p.m. PST time on Hairdressers Advice. So, and I want to do a shout out to Vince real quick. Vince, thank you for the shout out you did with us yesterday. Appreciate it. And I'm having fun doing these, and I think everybody's enjoying them as well. So yeah. All right, Christian, you ready?
Right. I am.
Perfect. Well, first of all, I want you to just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you, and you can feel free to go into Little Christian if you'd like.
Little Christian? I don't think anyone wants to hear from him. Yeah, he was kind of a brat, but Christian James. I'm founder of Arizona Salon Professionals here in Arizona. It's an online community for stylists. We have about almost 9,000 members now. I'm a 3-time North American Hairdressing Award nominee. Haven't won yet, but I'm still in there kicking and trying. I was just nominated for 3 Southwest Beauty Awards, speaking of Charlie Price. Thank you for those nominations, and thank you to all the stuff that he does. So that's kind of my little background. I've been doing hair for 25 years now. Yikes. I went to beauty school sort of on a last minute whim. It was something that I think I was always made to do or wanted to do, but there was such a stigma around it back then when, boys didn't do hair. At least that's how I grew up. I grew up in a small town. Most of the hairdressers I knew were female. I don't think I knew one male hairdresser until I got to beauty school, and that was one of my first instructors was a man. And I don't know, I just took to it like water. I don't know. It was just something that I enjoyed doing so much, and being able to make people feel great about themselves every day. I'm just blessed to be able to make money and do what I love. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And thanks for sharing that. And, you know, Christian, one of the things that I really value and appreciate about you, and I think others see this in you as well, is not only are you a good hairdresser and an artistic, creative person, but you have a really good, fast-thinking brain that I think is such a great asset to be able to support people in their ideas or clients in their inability to make decisions or to be able to know what they want. You're just a really good communicator, and you work well with people.
Yeah, thank you. I really do. I enjoy what I do, and a lot of times I always say it's about 70-30. 30% of what we do is skill, and then the other 70 is connecting with people and being able to read what they like and know how to interact and just be in relationships. I think is part of hairdressing that I think we all forget about. You know, there are some really super talented people out there that don't do a lot of hair and don't make a living at it because they don't know how to relate to people. And I think once you learn how to relate to people, that's what when you were telling your story, I was like, well, you had 15 years of experience of like learning about people. So when you went back the second time around, how you would most likely be 100 times better, just because you have more experience and more things to offer to the conversation.
Oh, absolutely. And never neglect the soft skills that I think really make most of us successful in this industry.
Yeah.
You know, the ability to communicate, the ability to, you know, recommend and listen, the word retail and sell product. It's vital to our success. We have to do it. We can't keep having, like I said, you know, last time, you know, we can't keep having the same conversations of what's not working for us. But, you know, the talent, the strength that I think this industry has and hairdressers have is a part of that package, not just doing hair, but doing hair well, being able to communicate well.
Yeah, that reminds me of a story when I like about retailing, when you bring that up, is I went to work in a salon, and one day we came in and all our products were missing on our station. And they were like, until you guys realize you have to use these things to do hair, like you got to be able to explain that to your clients. So I will give them back to you when you start selling stuff to your clients. So as we sold products, we got back the ones that we could use at our stations. And it was just a life-changing for me to realize that, like, I spend all day putting stuff on people's hair and wasn't telling them how to do it for themselves at home. And it was just, after years of doing hair, it never clicked until that day.
Right. If we can do hair with just water and you know, maybe a couple tools, then why can't our clients? But we know that that's not true. Yeah, it is. It was an interesting conversation. I was at the salon, data-driven salon program that was here in Atlanta that Modern Salon puts on. And I facilitated a couple panels. And one of the panels that I facilitated was the challenges that salons are up against with retailing right now. And, you know, and I get the challenges. I mean, we have a whole lot more independent contractors and sweet stylists like yourself. So there's much more diversity in all of that. But salons are still very challenged. They're very challenged by, you know, Amazon. They're very challenged. They still use the word diversion. I can't believe anybody says diversion anymore. Like, we just need to get over that word. Yes. And they're challenged by, you know, the big companies getting bigger and not being able to compete with that. I mean, even Ulta, was a conversation 20 years ago because they weren't salons. But now it's like, yeah, they're the retailers. They're the ones that are actually retailing to our clients when we're not. Yeah, when we're not. But it was interesting what some of the salons had to share, and some of them had some very sophisticated ideas of how to be able to work it. And it partly came with, you know, you have to look at the space you're utilizing and then be able to maximize that space, and to be able to look at grocery stores and drugstores of how they do it. They create marketing awareness, and there's a fight to be able to be on the shelf in a grocery store, in a drugstore. The vendors are fighting for space.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I think it's just, I think if the salons are more in charge of how they utilize that space and what their expectations are, I think the vendors and the manufacturers are going to have to kind of start playing bigger with the salons.
Yeah, I think the connect like going back to connections. I think the connection and between the companies that we get products from and the hairdresser, that it's sort of broken down a little bit. Like our expectations and what they are expecting from us, I don't think they match up anymore like they used to. It used to just be kind of seamless, and now it seems more like a struggle.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, to get the products that we want and get them at a fair price and be able to have them be innovative and forward thinking. You know, it's now it's a numbers game. The bigger the players get, it's more about numbers and less about relationship, I think. And so I think the companies that are really doing it well right now have really found ways like Pulp Riot to like have relationships with the people that they're selling to.
Yeah.
So
Hey, Christian, can you talk a little bit louder for us?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to do a shout out. I see Trace. Hello, Natalie, Lacey, Jared. Oh, thanks you guys for joining us. We got quite a few people. Flora, Vince, thank you for joining us. Thank you for allowing us to be on Hairdresser's Advice here. We appreciate it. Yeah. So one of the things, Christian, that I want to be able to do is we're going to kind of do a dual interview here. Again, I wanted to set up this particular session so people had an idea and an understanding of what the Beauty Agent Network was and the Spotlight in particular as well. So I'm going to let you interview me, and then I'm going to interview you.
Awesome. Actually, that leads me right into our first question, which is, what was the reason you started the Beauty Agent Network?
Oh gosh, it was one of those light bulb moments for me in starting it. So I was working for the PBA, the association, Professional Beauty Association. And I loved all that I was doing. I was producing NAHA. I was putting together the ISSE shows. We were just in the early stages and developments of Cosmoprof North America. So I loved putting shows together, and it was great. But it was also at the time that mergers and acquisitions were taking place in the industry. And a lot of companies were merging, and then the education, of course, anytime you do that, the education is the first people to go.
Right.
And there was a lot of really great talent that were moving around. Some of them were forced to move. Some of them were choosing to move because it just was a trying time, I think, in our industry where I think manufacturers were growing, but maybe the industry in itself weren't growing as much. And there was just a lot of misplaced educators out there. And so I just thought, you know what, they would call me up and they'd say, hey, can you help me get booked? And I ended up just kind of playing the role, the connector role, which is I am, and I think is my definite brand, in being able to help them find work. So I would call up people I knew. I would help them get into other shows. And it was great. I was kind of playing the middleman between people that wanted to buy educators for particular events and educators that were looking for people to be able to learn and grow from their expertise and talent. And as I was doing that, and I did it for about 5 years, and then social media kind of like started to kick my butt. And people were like, we don't need you anymore. We have social media. I can go onto social media and just promote myself all day long. And I'm like, great, do that. So of course, my interests started to change as well. So I started taking on a few other projects and working on writing some books and working in a partnered business on speaking programs. And the whole time, I never could let go of the beauty agents, though. It was kind of my baby. It was my first thing. And part of it, I think, was because I didn't want to admit that maybe I'd failed at starting something. So letting it go meant, oh my God, I really failed, right? So I just kind of kept it like I was in a relationship that I just didn't want to be in the relationship anymore, but I wasn't really ready to give up the relationship. And then shortly after that, I realized what I discovered, that even though people might be experts in their field, they're still not very good at promoting themselves. They're not very good at having an understanding of what their unique expertise is, what their unique brand is. They're not very good at presenting or educating a lot of times. And so I really felt like I had to kind of bring it back. And when I brought it back, I just kind of changed the name a little bit, the Beauty Agent Network. And it's really designed, and it takes me out of the middle. So now it's like a match.com for educators and education and buyers. So I'm out of the middle. I'm not necessarily kind of playing the role of an agent anymore. You can just click on the website, and if you like somebody, you can just go right directly to them and be able to send them a message and find out about a program, find out about fees, find out about what they can offer. And I think it's working a lot better for everybody because we're used to doing that. We're consumers that want what we want when we want it.
We want to go direct.
Yeah, they want to go direct. So really what it is a directory for everybody just to go to direct to the talent. So as we're growing the talent and building up the site a little bit more, my mission in it, of course, is to be able to have education be the number one selling product in our industry. Education be the number one selling product in our industry.
That kind of leads to my second question, which is what have you noticed about education and how's it changed in our industry?
I was having a conversation the other day with somebody, and for the life of me, I cannot remember who it was. But we were talking, it was actually Stephanie. Yeah, it was actually Stephanie Hodges. And we were talking about how I think people perceive education, if you have a big following, a big Instagram following or Facebook following or YouTube following, I think people are under the estimation that that makes you an educator. And then you have the educators out there, the tried and true, And I'm going to say that, they would be the masters of our industry. People like Alan Benfield Bush and even Charlie Price would be in that category. Nicholas French. They're true educators. They probably have educated live and in person more than 1 million people. Dwight Miller, there's another one. But they may not have a big, social media following. And I think it's time we bridge that gap. I think it's great that we have this young generation coming up. And that they need mentors to be able to teach them the foundation. They need mentors to be able to help them understand the elements of educating. And then, of course, maybe those people with great followings can help some of the masters to be able to, hey, here's how you got to build up your social media status.
Right.
So maybe there's an opportunity to bring it together. But I think education is back. It's definitely back right now.
Yeah, I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time. I mean, it ebbs and flows. You go through those areas where it wasn't very important. It's about sales and numbers, and now they're trying to reconnect, and they reconnect through people. And so, if you can get smart people doing some great education and connecting with the people in the audience, I think it'll build brands again.
Yeah, and listen, it's so diverse nowadays. We don't have to have one way that we're trying to educate. We don't have to have one thing we're educating on. The difference is are you in the sea of sameness as an educator, or do you really have a unique point of difference?
Right.
And are you aware of what is your number one connection with other people? And it's not your expertise. It's usually your story, what had you kind of struggle through life and then you overcame it. That's going to be your connector to what people are looking for. And then, by the way, they're going to want to learn razor cutting or balayaging or whatever those type of skills are that you offer.
Yeah, almost every educator I've ever been enamored by, I can tell you more about their story and who they are and how much I like them than actually what I learned in class sometimes. I just, even listening to Nick Oroja, most of the
another master.
The cutting it was his business advice and the mistakes he made and
Mm-hmm.
the things he did right and his willingness to share. I think that makes education for me so much better than it used to be. And that I'm up here talking about the products that I'm using, I like people with opinions and voices and something to say.
Right. And people that are willing to share their struggles at the same time their successes. And the more that we can relate to each other, the more powerful we're going to be able to learn the skills that we need to learn to be more confident in succeeding in this industry.
Yeah. But I have to say that's the one thing about how far I've come in this industry. It's been in the last 3 or 4 years since I met you, Bonnie, and you taught me how to engage with people and be able to share something that was super personal and still feel safe and still be able to, it was very difficult for me. I'd burst into tears the minute I would start to say something. And now to be able to share that story from a place where it's still meaningful to me, and I could share it over and over and it's still going to be meaningful, and have people respond back to me was one of the greatest gifts I've ever gotten. And if it wasn't for the people at the network and you, I don't know where I'd be.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That was very kind of you to say. It's I think it comes easily for some, and it doesn't come so easily for others to be able to be that vulnerable in their conversations or in their ability to connect. But everybody has the ability to be able to make those connections, and we really have to stop hiding out and being mean. Not acknowledging. That's what I always say is like the number one thing that we don't do very well in conversations is not acknowledging other people. We think we're listening, but listening also means being able to let the person know we're listening, and that is just a simple form of acknowledgement.
Yeah. Well, and the big educators that are out there that are doing it really well right now are, that's why. It's because they are vulnerable, they are authentic. I mean, I think every time I've seen Sonia Dove on stage, she's cried. She's, you know what I mean? Yeah. And for me, and for a crybaby like myself, I totally appreciate that. So.
I said to her the other day, we were talking when she was here in Atlanta, and she's like, I'm not as sappy as I used to be. And I said, everybody loves the sappy Sonia.
Everybody does love sappy Sonia because it's real, it's genuine. I would imagine that's how she would be if we were having a glass of wine on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. That's why she comes across the way she does.
Yeah.
And those are the
she's just being herself.
Yeah,
she's okay in her own skin, and she's being herself, and she realizes that what she's doing is a stretch for her. And anything, just like anything we're doing, it's a stretch, for me to put together all this technology to be able to be live on it. This is a stretch. And that I want to compliment you on, Christian, because I tell you, Christian is my go-to person when I'm like, how do you do this? How do you do that? I don't know how to do this. I want to neglect social media and how to be more tech savvy. I want to neglect it all day long. But the truth is, this is the way that we're doing business now. This is the way that we're able to connect, and all by design, because I think what's happening is people are wanting to come together live more often now. Mm-hmm. But we don't know where we want to invest our time and money until we make an initial connection. And that's why stuff like this is great.
Yeah, and you can see how social media has changed over time. It started out with just being able to text and have conversations, but we really do want that interaction. And so then things like Instagram came up. So now we can see photos, and now Snapchat, where we can actually do videos and things, and where we can interact.
Don't be talking Snapchat.
I'm just learning myself. I'm like one of those old men. I'm a Facebook person, and then there's a generation of Instagram people, and then the new generation or Snapchat. You can tell a lot about somebody by the social media that they lead.
Right. What did I see from one of my friends on Facebook, Lori Castro? She says, "I'm too young for Snapchat and I'm too old for Life Alert." I said it backwards. I said it backwards. I'm too old for Snapchat and too young for Life Alert. So there you go. Facebook and Instagram are the in-betweeners. Hey, we got some good comments here. Listen, education is the backbone of hairdressers and barbers. Yes, Flora, I agree with you. Destiny says I agree with education being number one. Thank you, you guys. This is really, really, really good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Christian, my turn to interview you. So you did share a little bit about your history, that you've been doing hair for 20 something years. You're a sweet stylist right now, but one of the things what I want to hear about is, you were this independent stylist and you were in Phoenix, Arizona, and you were looking for education and you didn't know how to find it. And so that's one of the reasons why you created the Facebook page that you did.
Yes. ASP was sort of out of necessity. Being in a state where we're a lot of independent contractors, we never had the ability to command the kind of education that they would get in salons where they're commission based. So they get free education based on sales, so that they would get a lot more. Like when I was growing up in Oregon, our salon always had education. They commanded it from the people they were buying stuff for. So it was always available. And then when I moved out here, it just wasn't. It was kind of always a second thought. It was never in the forefront. So I started going looking for that stuff, and I really couldn't find it. And so I started an online community with like 10 of my friends, and was hoping at best that we'd all get together and teach each other how to braid hair, like there would be some sort of book club for hairdressers. It was like education club, and lo and behold, it sort of took off like a fire. Like, we've now had probably in the last 4 years over 60 educational classes. Were some branded, some non-branded, some big names. We've had we did Beauty Gives Back twice and had some major. And so not only have we educated people, we've also raised over like $60,000 for charities. So I mean, we've really found a way to educate and give back at this point. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey for sure.
Yeah. So we definitely can't use the excuse that, there's no good education anywhere, because here you got 10 people together and you just started educating amongst each other and learning what you knew. And that's what builds a community. And I know that Vince and Flora creating Hairdressers Advice, this is a pretty strong community here. And they manage it really well. Like you manage the ASP community.
I don't know how they do it for 100,000 people. It's sometimes a nightmare for 10,000. So I give them mad props.
Yes. Yeah. And there's a lot of management to having a group this size and being able to keep people nice and keep it clean and keep it very professional. And, as they say, hairdresser and barber oriented. So I think it's great what you do, but I love what you're doing in Arizona. I love that. Cause here I grew up in Arizona, I went to beauty school in Arizona. One of the reasons why I didn't survive as a hairdresser after 3 or 4 years of doing it was because I didn't know how to source education. I didn't know how to find it. And even though NCA was a popular and active group in that area, and I participated a lot in the NCA programs that were going on locally, but it wasn't enough. I knew that I needed to continue to keep getting more. I didn't know where to find it, and I didn't know how to source it, and I didn't know how to pay for it. If I wasn't making enough money as a hairdresser, how am I going to pay for it? Wow. So it was all of those challenges that I think people face when they first start out and doing hair. So I love what you've done in the Phoenix and Arizona community, being able to bring people together and have enough power to make education important. Yeah, good.
Yeah,
so
it's been a good run so far.
Yeah, and you're going to continue. You're going to continue to keep growing it. Hold on, we got some comments here, so I want to see what some people are saying. People are actually saying some good things here. Helping hairdressers live their purpose. Thank you, Vince. I love that. Yeah. It's really awesome. Now, I know that, you had shared also too in the beginning that, you are nominated. You're nominated by the Southwest Hairdressing Awards and North American Hairstyling Awards, NAHA. So competing to you was something, what was the reason why you wanted to enter some of these photo competitions? What did that do for you as a hairdresser?
Well, it was never something I really strived to. And then I met somebody, Amy Freudenberg. I met her, and she's 3 times nominated, and she was just always really encouraging me to do it. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll think about it, you know, blah blah blah. And I don't know, it was just it just seemed like the natural progression and the next step towards um, the growth as an artist, to be able to as I always say, I always put it as, it was great to realize that I was playing the same game as everybody else. So like, I was fascinated by Nicholas French and Jake Thompson and Charlie Price and, you know, all these other people that were nominated and had won. And, you know, to realize that like my name's up there in the same category with some of these people, it was a huge boost to my confidence as an artist.
Did
And,
you think that you were going to get nominated?
oh no. Well, actually, there was probably one moment when I was shooting with Keith Bryce, who was probably the best person for me to shoot with the first time. And I was sitting there after creating some of the looks, and for a moment, I let myself believe that I had a chance. Like, I knew what I had done was special and special to me. And it really, at that point, it didn't matter if I won or got nominated at all. I knew what I had done was purposeful and amazing. And there was probably a split second in there when I thought, yeah, I got this, you know.
Oh, I love that. You know, I think that the photographic approach to things is every day now. Every day when you're in your salon, make sure that you got a good wall and a little bit of good lighting, and snap pictures of those moments like you just shared. There was a moment where you went, wow, I just did this.
Yeah.
Because we need that. We need that self-gratification sometimes, because, you know, 9 clients might be boogers and 1 might be an amazing experience that we want to remember.
Correct. Plus, it was also an outlet for me. My business side of my hair isn't that avant-garde. It's, you know, most of my clients are 40-year-old working women, housewives, you know, and I don't get to do the kind of hair that you see in those photos. So it was a way of, I think it gave me an outlet for that. Like, I was starting to get bored with doing, you know, housewife hair and, you know, pretty girls like that go off to school, and it gave me an out, like that chance to do something more avant-garde. And
Yeah. And really challenge yourself.
Yeah, it was definitely a challenge. I mean, I learned more in that first week of shooting, than I'd learned in a long time.
Yeah. So I think it's a good challenge. I know that there's a lot of people that probably think, oh, I don't have the talent, the skill set, the connections, the team, the photographer, the great models, the money. I think a lot of people think that, but, you know, you ended up doing a photo shoot for like less than a couple $100s.
Yeah. Not the first one, but the second time I was nominated, it was definitely a group effort. I think I spent probably $100 on some stuff. And then when it was done, they printed it in the magazine, and I entered it in editorial, and to my surprise, like, was nominated. And it was, you know, it was something different. It didn't look like anything else that had been nominated that year. So it was really untouched and sort of raw. It wasn't like a lot of photoshopping. And I don't know, I was shocked and surprised, and again, humbled by the people that were also in the group, you know?
Yeah, well, I think those type of competitions, the Southwest Hairstyling and NAHA and those type of things, they really do bring out you know, the good in people to be able to support you. Like Trace here, he just says it's awesome that you do NAHA work, and he can't wait to see what's coming next from you.
I know him and Amy are both trying to push me to do it again, and I'm just like, you know, I think it just challenges you as an artist. And lately, I just have not, like, I think that what's holding me back is the fear of not getting nominated.
Yeah, well,
Because I've been very lucky. Like, the first time I entered, I got nominated. The second time I entered, I got nominated. I'm afraid if I enter and I don't get nominated, I'm afraid what that might say about me. You those fears that we all have of why we don't do stuff. You know, I spoke on stage in Long Beach this year about fear and what holds you back, and it's funny that I'm letting it do it to myself. So.
And that brings up one of my final questions here, because I think everybody's under the assumption that to be a really great educator, you have to always be doing hair or some type of technical skill set. But you stood on the NAHA stage at the ISSE show, and you just did a presentation about overcoming fear in doing a shoot.
Yes, I did.
No hair.
No,
You didn't have
no
any
hair.
scissors or combs in your hand.
Nope, it was just me on this big, humongous stage, like talking about what, you know, being authentic and talking about why I entered and what holds me back. And, you know, I just want people to realize that we're all more alike than we are different.
Yes.
And if I can be that one person that says something to someone in the audience and they go enter and they get nominated, that would be a bigger thrill to me than actually being nominated.
Yeah.
To be able to mentor somebody through that. So,
and I think we need more mentors in their industry. So I really look to you to continue to be the mentor for people.
Yeah, I'm about soft skills. So if I could teach soft skills all day long and teach people how to be better people and how to relate, that's what drives me. Like you can teach anybody to do really great hair if they really put their mind to it. You know, I mean, some people just pick it up naturally. I was not one of those. But,
I wasn't either.
I mean, it was something I really had. I still, like, don't ask me to teach anyone how to cut hair. I do it, and I'm pretty good at it, but I don't know why I do what I do, and I could not explain it to my life to me. But I could tell you, how to be a better person and how to relate to the people in your chair and, you know, be able to be authentic and realize that we make a difference every day. And I don't think we remember that enough for people.
Yeah. Destiny said she was afraid too, and thanks for sharing your story. And it's going to be a great NAHA. And yes, everybody will be there at NAHA, of course. And, yeah, but before that,
it's those kind of comments that make it all make doing this kind of stuff because if she, you know, if you can reach one person, it's enough.
Yeah, but before NAHA, Christian and I are going to be at IBS Las Vegas. And so I'm going to be moderating a couple panels that Christian is on, and we're doing a couple of them. So I want to do a shout out to these type of educational classes because they are paid classes. So you have the opportunity to sign up for them. And one is the Suite Summit. So if you are an independent stylist or you are in a suite environment or a booth rental, whatever the words are that you use, we have a 3-hour master class that's going to be gathering some great people to be able to help you be an amazing, successful suite stylist. So Christian's going to talk about how to be able to build that community. I'm going to talk about how to be able to create your brand. We've got a couple people that are going to be talking about charging your worth and being able to look at 10 things that are going to help you to be successful as a suite stylist. So that's one of the programs that we're involved in. The second program is the Social Media Summit. And of course, Christian will be on that as well. And Christian's going to share, you know, how to be able to really utilize Facebook pages and Facebook groups to be able to build your business, because, you know, you use networking meetings as well as social media to be able to build your clientele and business. And I think a lot of people are under the impression that they need to have 50, 60,000 followers. But the truth is who is your ideal client? And when you realize that your ideal client is the person that's going to sit in the chair and pay you to do their hair or to provide a service, then you don't need 60 or 70,000. You might need, you know, 1,000 of those type of clients. And, you know, maybe it ends up being the odds of 10,000 people on your Facebook page. Who knows? But we're going to be talking about that. We've got some other keynote speakers as well. And I'm just going to be sharing that, you know, kind of outside of the typical social media networks, since I actually host a radio show, Beauty Inside and Out. I hit in March 50,000 listeners in that month. And although those numbers are not advertised on my page because it's not measured that way like regular typical social media, that's my means of being able to do the outreach that I do. And it's a consumer-based radio show. So I'm going to be talking about how podcasts are really, really, really hot right now. So whether it's live radio or podcast, we're going to be sharing that as an opportunity for people to have a better understanding. It may be your calling. Video was never my calling, even though I'm doing it now. Radio was really easy to do for me. So I loved it. And then Christian and I will also be doing a class on Monday there, and it's really talking about, how to be able to build your brand. Hold on, I've got the title right here. I should probably read it. It is the Ultimate Marketing and Branding Workshop. Christian's going to be helping me out with that, but we're going to talk about if you are interested in whether it's building your business, you're a salon owner, you're a sweet stylist, or maybe you're an educator, what is the missing element that's having you not grow? And it's usually around branding and marketing. And it's usually the last thing on our to-do list that we do. And if we can shift people's mindset to being able to look at how to incorporate that, consistency of branding and marketing, that's what helps to build your business. Because look at any brand that you're buying right now. If you're buying anything, it's because you've probably seen it multiple times. It wasn't just a one-time thing and then you just, fell in love with it. Somebody told you about it. You probably saw some marketing on it or a commercial or an ad. And then that kind of brings it all together in there. So we're going to be doing lots at the IBS Las Vegas show. I'm excited about that. And then, of course, Christian, thank you so much. You've been a big support to the Beauty Agent Network. So as he's kind of like our managing marketing lead. So if you have questions about the Beauty Agent Network, or you're interested in being on the spotlight, or maybe you want some help with branding and marketing, Christian and I are happy to be able to set up a time to talk with you and share with you more about what we're doing. But you could just go to the website as well, beautyagentnetwork.com.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Bonnie and Bonnie's, with my relationship with her and being part of the Beauty Agent Network, you probably wouldn't see me on the NAHA stage. You probably wouldn't see me at IBS. It's getting your name out there and being part of the bigger community of educators is one of the best ways to move yourself forward in your career. And if you're looking to be an educator, be out there teaching, if it's at a show or if it's just salon to salon, the Beauty Agent Network.
Or even if you're just trying to be able to build a clientele, speaking and branding and marketing, all of those things that we've talked about today are going to be a big help for that. So thanks everybody for joining us. I'll post the website information on the page here as soon as we end this. But stay with us for next week, because on June 11th, we're going to have Dario Contreno. And he is an award-winning educator out of Australia. So it's going to be an interesting one because it's going to be 7:00 in the morning his time the next day that he's going to be going live with us. So we'll be Monday, June 11th.
And I just got that email. So I don't know how do they get on your email list?
Yeah, they can just, if they just send an email back on there, or they can just do a connect to the email list as a feature on that.
Oh, it's on the website. Okay.
Yeah, on the website. Yeah. So yeah.
I saw that this morning. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to get to LA to see him?
Yes, yeah. And we've got, there's actually some opportunities. So if you're a salon owner and you're looking to host Dario, he's going to be in Chicago, LA, and New York. If you'd like to host him, there's some incentives for you to be able to be a salon host for a program there. And you can just send an email back to me, Bonnie, at thebeautyagents.com, and I'll hook you up with their lead person to be able to find out a little bit more about that. So again, we're in the business of education, right?
Right.
Yep, that's what we do. And we're going to make education the #1 selling product. So here we go. Thanks for joining us on the Spotlight, everybody. Have a great Monday and a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.